Hey guys, how's it going? I got this little clip, Jesse Jackson, and he's talking about the how Chicago's in such bad shape that it needs Homeland Security, but he's talking about it for all of us, really. And I wanted to point it out. I thought it was interesting. He seems to think that this is just logical and that pretty much everybody should agree with him. But this one little part really got to me, and it was that he thinks that people who believe the Second Amendment is meant to protect us from a tyrannical government is really a sick attitude, and I thought I'd bring that out. So let's take a listen.
The next step, these anti-American people, we're really arming to stop the government from taking. They're fighting the government. This is a Confederate ideology. This is like.
So you heard him say, sounded like he was about ready to finish it with we're going to stop them from taking our guns, and said it was the ideology of the South from long ago, as if believing in the Second Amendment is somehow something to do with the Confederacy. I guess all those people that live north of the Mason-Dixon line are going to be surprised to find themselves Confederate sympathizers.
Serious. So with power to do something about how they feel. In a place like Chicago, we need Homeland Security, not just the local police. The local police, if this is Chicago, and these anti-American people, we're really arming to stop the government from taking. They're fighting the government. This is a Confederate ideology. To stop the government from taking. They're fighting the government. This is a Confederate ideology. This arming to stop the government from taking. They're fighting the government. Arming to stop the government from taking. They're to stop the government from taking. They're fighting the government. This is a Confederate.
To stop the government from taking what? He didn't want to finish that. But he's saying it's a Confederate ideology to believe that we should have the right to bear arms. And that would be okay for him to believe that, and it wouldn't be so alarming to me if it weren't for the fact that he speaks for a very large majority, not majority, a large group within the Democratic Party. Many, many Democrats, especially on the left side, prefer to see no guns. And they've said it before. If anything they can do to get rid of guns, they'll do it. Well, the people that are in our government that have sworn an oath to defend the Constitution, this guy is really not, he hasn't sworn an oath. But you've got a lot of people there that are talking about gun control who have sworn an oath.
Ideology. This is like serious. So with power to do something about how they feel. This is like serious. So with power to do something about how they feel.
And that's really interesting that he's concerned that the whole idea behind the Second Amendment is that the people would have the power to do something about the problem, something that they feel very strongly about. When the government starts abusing its power and stepping outside of its constitutional bounds. We have a constitutional government. We are a land of laws, not of men. We don't worship men. We don't have a kingdom. We don't have kings and rulers. We are the rulers. And people like this, Jesse Jackson, does not like that fact, which is fine. Everybody is free in this country to have any opinion they wish. But he wants to impose his opinion on me. And he walks around in the halls of Congress speaking with anyone who will hear his opinions. And when I see Democrats or Republicans agreeing with him, it's a little nerve-wracking to think that there might be enemies domestic as well as foreign. It's important to maintain our freedom that we remain diligent. This is pretty clear in every writing that all of our founders spoke about. It was very difficult to gain freedom. To maintain it is very difficult. We've let our government get a little bit stronger than the people, and this could be a problem. But at this point, I believe the people do have the upper hand. And if the government decides to spill outside of its bounds, at least as much as the people are willing to put up with, because it already has spilled out, then the people can change the government in the way they see fit. I have an idea of how I would do it. I mean, if people ask me, hey, Poker Face, how would you change the government? I'd simply say, the setup that was originally put in place is a perfect system. We just need to return to it. We've gone away from it. There has to be some teeth, so when the people that are in the government step outside of their role or make mistakes, there has to be something that stops them. When the president makes executive orders that are outside of his power, there has to be some mechanism that instantly stops it, so that we don't have to wait for years and go through trials and tribulations with the courts.
In a place like Chicago, we need Homeland Security, not just the local police. The local police, if this is Chicago and this is Chuck's gun shop right here.
So he's saying he wants Homeland Security to be in charge of our national security, internal security, that we can no longer depend on the local police because, well, I mean, he's explaining it to you, but the idea is, if the city bans guns, but the guy just outside the city limits is allowed to sell guns, well, then the criminals go and get the guns from the guy over there, which we know is not true because criminals never buy guns from shops ever, because then they would have to leave their name and they would have to get a background check and all that other stuff. So it's a red herring anyhow. But the point is, he wants the Department of Homeland Security to be in charge of everybody instead of having our local police. Wouldn't that make it much easier for a government to control its people rather than the people controlling the government? We have a reason that we like our politics to be local. It's easier to hold your local elected sheriff responsible than it is to hold somebody that's chosen by the president to be in charge of Homeland Security. So if Homeland Security messes up, you don't have much complaint. All you can do is wait for the president to get reelected and hope maybe you can get him kicked out. And your power is very weak when that happens, because it's your one vote out of the millions and millions is almost non-existent. But in a local election, you can actually turn out the vote. You can go to your community meetings and tell people your experiences and sway people to your side. And you can affect your local government much easier. So that's why we like local government. And we'll continue to keep our local governments the way we like them. People just need to be reminded that the federal government is on a leash. We call it the Constitution. And you'll notice that now a lot of these people that are being trained are being trained to be suspect of people who use the word Constitution or the Bill of Rights, because they really believe that people like us are the problem. And we really are, if you think about it. Their plan is world dominance, world government. They want to have a one world government. And some of us would prefer to be free individuals and not have any government over us as an individual, because we are sovereign human beings. Regardless of what country a person is in, the person is sovereign. It's a God-given right. The Second Amendment is just a reiteration of a knowledge that we already know, that everybody has a right to defend themselves. Everybody. Not just Americans, every human being. Anyhow, it was good talking to you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.